Okay guys, what is up? So I had so much fun. I was like super excited and looked back at the video and the Wi-Fi isn't that good at the ice rink where I skate at sometimes and it get really spotty. And when I go in the blue rink, which is the one in the middle, I have the hiccups. Um, it's not close to the Wi-Fi. So I was kind of bummed out that it ended up being super blurry. But I had so much fun skating with Anya. Shout out to you guys, Emma, Kate, Leia, and Anya. It was so fun skating with you guys and learning some stuff from you. You guys did great. I definitely wish it could have turned out better. But I felt like there could always be something that's better. But I had so much fun. And an update for this channel. Um, I have loved my journey in figure skating. And so I will be making a separate video, a separate channel where it's focused on just the ice skating because here I talk about a wide variety of things. um, and I'd love to start doing collaborations and video collaborations with people. And today we are going to talk about ice skates and how to care for them. And then I will also show you an example of a way to not care for your skates. So yeah, heads up, there will be a new YouTube channel that I will be mentioning sometime when I get that set up. Just because, again, it's more based on figure skating than horse-related stuff. Okay, so this is my first skate. My first pair of figure skates. These are the Jackson, Jackson fam, hey. Any other figure skaters skate with Jackson? Hey. Okay, so this is my first figure skate, which is, it's a lot like the rentals actually. Inside it's a hollow boot. Definitely going over to debuts, I feel like I was putting on Skechers. They were super comfortable. They had a lot of padding. And this is a Mark IV blade. And with an intermediate toe pick. Now the toe pick, why I say intermediate toe pick? Actually, when I worked at Belmar for a little bit, I actually ended up using the rental skates one time or a few times because I needed to. Yeah, see all that rust on them? We'll get to that in a second. Ended up using the rental skates a couple of times because I need to get my skates sharpened and the sweet spot. And the blade felt different. When I skate in these, they are a little bit longer and I'm more forward. I'm more bending into my knees. I feel like the rentals are more just for standing up and, overall balance. Which going back to that and then literally going forward and then almost like falling forward because I'd be bending my knees and going forward, and then it's like it was so weird. And I feel like this is a little bit longer here to the actual toe pick, and it's smaller. So, which getting used to the bigger toe pick, I ended up tripping over it a couple of different times. One time I did a one-foot glide, and my knee, my weight dug in, so this part of the toe pick went into the ice. So that means I fell forward, and I hit my knee, fell on it, and it was very, very painful. It was not fun. But you start to get used to how the blade feels different and how the skating overall. I feel like, again, with these ones, I'm bending my knees more. The other ones, I'm just kind of relaxed and standing, which I feel like I had to push more, more to bend my knees. Which this is usually the kind of cloth I will use. When you have your own pair of skates, do your best to take care of them because they're very, very expensive. You can get skates for cheap. There's a wide variety of skates out there that have different price ranges. And today I'm going to be talking about skate care. So this is I'd always use Murphy's oil, which is a leather cleaner that would actually clean as well as hydrate the material, because when it starts to get dry, it'll start to crack. Again, I haven't cleaned these in a very, very, very long time. These are actually retired, but you see that crack there? Again, that's because I haven't worn them in a while. I also didn't clean them, which I did, but this is what happens when material starts to get dry. You can see this is just scuff marks, but things will start to crack, and that's actually kind of funny because I was thinking about skating in these one time, cleaning them up, seeing how it felt compared to when I started skating in these. But yeah, I mean, I could still skate in this; it'll be fine. But I don't want to risk it at the same time. It'd be fine, but make sure you have a good leather cleaner. Which there's leather wipes. There is, special brands like Adia has their own cleaner, and as well as a polish so you can keep your skates looking clean. Because sometimes we get scuff marks. So there's a paint application that makes them look really good and brand new again for presentation reasons. Again, these skates are really beat up just because I've had them for a while, and they're my first pair of skates. The trial and error I learned a couple things. I learned careful of who you have sharpen your skates. Now, in no way am I trying to slander hockey skaters, okay? They are super awesome, but the way they sharpen skates is completely different. And so I just want people to know that in no way am I slandering hockey players. But when I was at the Apex Ice Arena, I ended up having this one guy sharpen my skates. He was a hockey player, and the way he started to sharpen it, I ended up having a lot of blade. So I didn't end up having a lot of blade anymore. And it's almost like he was eating away, because when you sharpen your skates, you are taking some of the blade away, and you're starting to make it smaller. And he was going up instead of straight. So eventually I ended up skating one day, and it was at the Olympic Oval in Utah. And I was wondering why I just couldn't do things like I used to do anymore. And I felt like I didn't have as much blade, and I felt like things were weird. And he ended up scooping away at all that blade behind. So it was only on this one point where you usually have a lot of blade contact. I only ended up having a little bit because it was like sloping away at that back, which I don't really know the blade analogy or what the words are. All I know is topic, blade. And when you get them sharpened, there is a thing that the hollow. So, when you get them sharpened, I recently just got my skates sharpened, and they felt super grabby, which I got 7/16, which I'll look at that, and it doesn't feel that deep. I also don't feel like it's even. I felt like my inside blade, the inside edge was sharper and the outside was not, which that's always confusing. But who knows? But it was interesting because I felt like I was almost stuck to the ice. It was funny though. I got used. I never had them. That they say that's really sharp. Someone else who's more experienced can correct me on a few things or share some knowledge where I may lack. But eventually, I had to find a figure skater who knew what they were doing when they sharpened the skates. I learned to be picky because he eventually just ended up sharpening away on my blade. So it was kind of like a bust. And in no way is it his fault, really. It was mine because I wasn't paying attention and I should have, maybe done a little more research. I think we all learn from our mistakes. And so I ended up having to buy another pair of skates. And I was in Arizona, and that's where I got these Jackson debuts, which they're cool. I like them. This is a Mark II blade. Yeah. And shame on me, I've been using these blade guards that were from the old pair, which I should get a new pair just because of the rust, which if you wipe them down, you're fine. But this is what is called a skate guard. So this is your rockers. Rocker, they call them. There's a brand out there. So when you're walking around, you have your skate guards on, because when you walk around without the guards, you're kind of chipping away at your blade. It's almost like I think a waste of time to get them sharpened and then have you be walking around and chipping away at it, which nicks can happen. It's best to really take care of your skates because again, they're super expensive. Well, again, depending. And if you spend that much money on something, you should do your best to enhance the life, keep it going as much as possible. And these are usually what I walk around on when I am not on the ice. And then this is the kind of rag I use. It's a microfiber rag. I don't have my soakers. I forgot to bring my soakers, but the soakers are soak up the moisture. Soakers, get it? I used to have a pair of unicorn soakers. I love my unicorn soakers. I have adorable soakers. And that is what you put on the blade after to absorb that moisture. Once you wipe them down, and it's kind of just like, soaking up that moisture. And so, yeah. Usually I will store my laces inside my boot just so it looks nice. And again, this is a material that I usually clean with the Murphy's oil or leather wipe. And then I will be getting some applique stuff, some of that paint stuff just to keep them looking clean. Currently, I'm not really worried about that. I just want to keep them happy, keep them clean, and keep them moisturized. And it just feels good when you have, it's like saddle. I mean, I was horse riding. I used to do horse riding. So I think the most satisfying thing is when you end up going to clean the tack. What you're getting, Murphy's oil. I use the tack to clean the Murphy's oil. And that's how I learned that I can go over into cowgirl boots, cowboy boots. It's super awesome. You could probably even use it on a leather jacket. I have no idea though. Don't count me word for word on that. But that's something I would totally do. I'm also super silly sometimes. But it's a leather cleaner, right? Anything that cleans leather and moisturizes it. Then there's also like leather wipes. But usually when you skate, always have your bag and your skates and your rockers, as well as I always put my blades back on after my soakers are for a little bit, and then I have the soakers I can have a bag that I organize things in, and I have my soakers in a different pocket. make sure you have your soakers like dry, you know. I don't know, it's not like they're gonna get that wet, but making sure that, you know, I don't know, I've never had it happen before where my soakers have ever been so wet that, you know, things start to grow on them, or I don't know. You know, again, it's like just common sense and making sure that everything is dry, because otherwise you will get rust on your blade. And that is super, 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 super duper bad. This is what rust looks like. And um, it can be removed off with, you know, sanders, but it's better to not let your blades get that, especially on the side. Um, you really want to take care of your blades again. You know, I just keep saying that. You want to refrain from getting scratches and, you know, up here. At least is what I'm told. You know, you just want to, again, take care of them. I mean, these are like knives. I mean, they can be super sharp. um, and it's like you want to prolong the life to the best. Which, yeah, that happens because I was skating and then did not have my soakers. And so I would just get off, wipe my skates off, put them in the guards, and then I'd walk around with them. Which sometimes during the snow, there'd be, you know, snow, or sometimes there'd be puddles. So then my skate guards would get wet. And so then when it's wet, rust will start to grow. And not grow, but rust will happen, which is just overall, it's bad for the blade again. Um, yeah. I haven't touched these in a while too. It's been a while since I've actually held these, which that's kind of cool. This is what people used to skate in. I mean, this is what all the old skaters used to skate in. Like I've heard that, because we've heard, but I don't know that, you know, whether it's fact or fiction. But getting used to the ones that have cushions. Some people prefer like the empty, hollow, you know, like what you get when you go to rentals, and it's like it's just like a preference thing. But these, you know, I thought that these were discontinued. I was told that they were discontinued, which really I don't know. You know, um, but I've always held on to these because this was my first pair of skates of my own, and it's like a memorable thing to me. Um, I've started to notice the difference between ice dancing toe picks and figure skating toe picks. I still have yet to fully retrain that information, but I was like wondering, like, what's the difference between ice, like where you're doing jumps versus ice dancing, which is like choreography, and I mean it's kind of different. It's more like a dance on ice, which from what I remember, just the toe pick is different because I don't know why, but it just looks different. Like, if I remember correctly, here I have like two big ones, and then, you know, I have these teeth here, but then there's really, really small ones right in the middle. They're not as big, but I also may just be wrong. Like, again, I'm just rambling on about an observation that I've noticed with ice dancing compared to the figure skating dancing. I don't know. um, But I'm going to end today's video, and I'm going to start putting these on a channel that again is geared just towards figure skating. I realized that, you know, I've been I've been thinking a lot. Where do I want to go in life? Where do I want to be putting a lot of my time and energy into? And I've started to realize that figure skating may not be that anymore. But I think it's really just going to be a side hobby that I may do every once in a while. And I have knowledge that I can share. Um, so I'm really excited to at least start getting those tutorials out there, sharing what I know. And I think every coach teaches people differently, and every tutorial is kind of different but the same. So in no way is mine like the right way or better than other people. I actually liked Thrive Diaries. There is this coach out there, figure skater. It's called the Thrive Diaries, and she actually had really good um, tutorials that helped me with my bunny jump and my side toe hop, or side tap toe hop, um, whatever we call it nowadays. And her videos are awesome. And because I can't always afford to have, it's an expensive sport. Figure skating is a serious commitment, and it's a very, very expensive sport. um, and it's fun. It's just super expensive, which when I can do it, it's definitely worth the time and investment. And now it's just going to become more of a side thing that I'll do here and there. I wanted to go to competitions and someday reach the Olympics, and I think we all have our dreams, and who knows? I'm just not going to be aiming for that right now. Probably won't ever. Um, and that's okay. Like, seriously, it's okay. I think a lot of people say, here's what I want people to know. I didn't grow up figure skating. A lot of people who are good figure skaters, at least that I know, they grew up doing that as a kid. Um, and not everyone though. But you don't have to grow up doing it as a kid. Like I've been a dancer. I'm a dancer. So I know it's in my veins. I know that's probably why I have a lot of flexibility and why I think it's easy for me to pick up ice skating. So I used to figure skating. I used to do ballet when I was a kid. So I feel like people would always say though, excuse me, I'm yawning. Even as an adult, people would not do ballet classes with older adults. Like, sorry, we don't teach adults. And I've started to find classes and dance companies that do teach adults, but we start putting age limits and barriers. And if you're only 24, and I guess you can't do ballet. You've already lost your flexibility. You already cannot dance, and that bothers me. Like that seriously bothers me because I've learned that there's 91-year-old figure skaters out there. Like, for example, Yvonne. Like, she used to skate at my rink, like Apex Ice Arena. Yvonne used to skate there. And, some of you who are in the figure skating world know about Yvonne, and she was super old. And she was like still going out there, still skating. She started to not do like triple axels, but she still did stuff. Like she was absolutely amazing. And she just like it didn't stop her. And I wish to say that just because, I started when I was 22. I started to figure skate. I had done some public sessions here or there. And I just kept falling a lot. And I kept getting better at it. And every single time you fall, you learn. And not, setting, I think, realizing that we're not always going to be as good as we hoped upon stepping out on the ice, but if you keep working at it, it starts um excuse me, you start to get better at it, and it doesn't matter what age you are. It's all about mentality. If I want to do something, if I believe, if I'm just like, nah, they say I can't because I'm already a young adult, and I'm just like, that is silly, and I've started to do it. And I want people to know that, I think I don't know anymore how, like, recently, if there's stipulations about age, but, society is just, I think society does that a lot. And if you want to start skating, then you should. If you want to start dancing, then find people, or you want to start doing something, whatever it is. Don't let your age stop you. You know that half the time we limit our own selves. I limit myself because of my perceptions, my beliefs, what I say, how I act. the mind is very, very powerful. It's a very, very interesting tool that can either be helpful or sometimes not be helpful, depending on, like, if I'm letting fear rule me, if I'm afraid to go to a competition, I'm afraid to fail, something like that. Which for me, I don't feel afraid. I'm just having to put my energy elsewhere. I have to focus on my GED in college, and that's, I'm planning on coming up with half the tuition, so that's why I'm having to sacrifice my ice skating, which kind of stinks, but at the same time, I'd rather put something in towards my future, and I think it'll make me feel better, and I know it will, and joys of adulting. You have to make choices. You have to figure out what you want, what you don't want, what is worth suffering for. Not suffering, but how much worth does each thing that I want to do have? Um, and just start to really have to choose which. That's unfortunate, but that's life, and that's growing up. um, which, again, I'm just going to do it on the side, still doing tutorials here or there. So that should be fun. But all right, guys, this ends today's conclusion. My yawning is telling me I just need to go to bed. I'm like super cold. I was literally in my covers, shivering. My feet are still very cold. And I'm wearing a big comfortable jacket with like warm stuff on the inside. Like, I should not be this cold. But I am. So yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one.